Hello everyone and welcome back to the Silicon Nubian YouTube channel where we're all about things tech. Today I'm kicking the tires of another Linux distribution, or I'm a little reluctant to call it distribution as it's basically a spin on Arch Linux. It is called Arco Linux. We're looking at version 6.9.2. There are two additions to this Linux distribution. There's XFCE, one that contains, I should say, has options, XFCE, i3, and OpenBox as your GUI interface. And there's another edition which is a minimal edition, which has it's just a command line version, so you can build from scratch the way you like it. The developers state that Arco Linux is designed to allow people to get comfortable with and learn how to use and customize their system. In other words, it is Arch, let's just put it like that, so they encourage the user to dig in there and really customize the system the way they want. So here we are, we've installed Arch once again, how I do my reviews and my first looks, and this is a first look. I have installed it in a virtual environment and I've done the updates up until just before I record this review slash first look. So this is the login screen. Very interesting. Not for everybody's taste, but it's Linux. Make it what you will. So let's log in and see what the desktop will give us. Once again, this is an Arch-based distribution. I myself am a big fan, being a steady user of Manjaro on my main PC here in the office. So as we look around, we see a very busy desktop. It might not be everybody's taste, but it is very interesting nonetheless. I don't get put off like this, much like people who go shopping for a new home. You walk in, I don't like the paint color. Everything else is great, but I don't like the paint color. We're not going to buy the house. Well, I think that's a ridiculous way of looking at things. Paint is so easy to change, and so is wallpapers. So let's start looking at what's here. We see a blank desktop. We see a nice launcher over here, and this is the XFCE version, I believe. Yes, it is. I did go into XFCE. I will take a look at i3 another time. We look at below at the bottom right. We have our user name, and we can restart, log out, suspend. That's pretty good. That's down there. Left clicking will give us our volume controls, and we can go straight into our volume mixer. One thing you'll notice about Arco is the selection of applications is different. It's not typical, and we'll go through that as we kick the tires here. Right clicking will give us properties, about, and we see XFCE4, Pulse Audio plugin, very good. And we have a wallpaper changer. Interesting. So we can actually change these wallpapers, and it's set to change every 5 minutes. So we can do that right away, or we can do it manually. Let's go to the next one. Very nice. So every 5 minutes it's set to change your wallpapers, and it's so easy to turn off. Just left click once and go to preferences. Right clicking and left clicking will give you the same dialog box, and you can go to whatever you want to go to, or you can make it static and just have one that you like. So let me get to one. Go back to the cows. Alright, so we continue on the left of that. We have the update manager, which is stating that the system is up to date. This is the PacMac, it looks like it. Typical update manager found, and software manager, by the way. It's all in one, found in a lot of Arch-based distributions. And it is indeed PacMac 6.4.1-1. So that's fine. Being an Arch-based distribution, you definitely can use Pacman directly from the command line. Another thing is that I have to mention is they lean heavily in the application choices on the YaWuArt. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Basically, it's the user-managed repositories for Arch-compatible software packages, the AUR. Arch User Repository. They use it quite a bit and lean on it heavily. Whether or not that's a positive thing, I'm not sure, in that these packages are not maintained by the actual Arch, or let's say Manjaro or Chakra developers, for example, all these distributions being based on Arch Linux. And Some people consider it like the Wild Wild West. I don't. I use my printer wouldn't work otherwise. My brother printer and a few other things I pull from the AUR. So, but they do use a lot of packages from there. So let's continue. We have our network connections. Right and left clicking bring up different dialog boxes as we're used to with XFCE, and here we have a clipboard manager, which I like quite a bit. Clipman. Very much clipboard junkie, and clipboard managers have saved my computing life. So we have two screens we can go switch between the two, screen 1 and 2. Right clicking on the desktop will give us our desktop settings, will give us our properties, and here we can change once again our backgrounds, and it's done in real time. So there it goes. Very good, very quick. Of course, configuring menus and icons. For those of us who have used XFCE for any length of time, most of this seems pretty standard right now. So nothing really to see here. Just another XFCE implementation. Pretty stock actually, except for a few little tweaks. So let's look at the toolbar here. We have, this is where you can see the selection of applications is atypical. Here we have Inkscape. Image editor. This is interesting because Inkscape 0.9.2, I would actually don't want to call it an image editor, as you can draw things freely in it. You can do a lot of things. Let's call it image manipulation or graphics manipulation program. A pretty good one at that. It's been around quite a while. And here of course we have GIMP 2.10, 2.10, and that's included by default. So if you're into image manipulation, drawing, you've pretty much got yourself set up here pretty good. Now we get into things like Meld. So we have file comparison, directory comparison. I guess it's a synchronizations program between directories. I'm not familiar with Meld. Maybe someone can correct me. It looks a lot like a directory comparison and synchronization software. And if I get into it, folder comparison, version control, and also version control. Interesting. Okay. So we have backups, different filters. Okay. Interesting. Okay. We continue. We have Genie. A fast and lightweight IDE. I have not used this ever. If someone wants to give me a little bit of information down below in the comment section, I'd gladly take a look at that. Continue, we have Thunar File Manager, and the version included is the Git version, 1.8.1 Git F5. Interesting, so we have that right there. Very capable file manager, which I've used many times. No issues whatsoever with it. Peak. So you can record different things as GIFs. Interesting. If you want to like take pictures of your desktop or record your desktop, or I believe, I'm not sure. Once again, when it comes to these distributions that I'm looking at the first time, just like you are, a lot of the software for me is not familiar. And that's the great thing about Linux, actually. You have to embrace that, in that there's many tools. There you go. We've just switched to a different desktop. I guess our 5 minutes has passed. Let's go to the next one. Oh, that's beautiful. That's a nice one right there. Let's continue. So we have GPick. This is a color picker. Advanced color picker. GPick is there. Interesting selection of not just of the application, but also the functionality that's presented in the toolbar. Here we have Termite. Not familiar. I'll have to look that up. I did read what it's about, and for the life of me, I can't, at this particular moment, I can't remember it, but it's a CLI-based software. Simple screen recorder, which I've used before. Very capable screen recorder. Vivaldi is the browser of choice. So Vivaldi is your browser of choice. No problem there. Very fast. Interesting look with the color scheme, but like I said again, color should not deter you from anything. Sublime text editor, and over here we have Firefox. So there's two browsers on the toolbar. Interesting choices. Interesting. Whether or not you like it or not, always remember all of that can be changed very easily. I can easily just right click and say get rid click keep in dock, uncheck it, and it's gone, and I can put other things in the dock if I want. Let's look at the application menu. Right clicking will give us the normal settings we'll see for the whisker menu. This is XFCE after all. Left clicking will give you nicely stylized, much like the toolbar, application menu. And we can go to all, let's go to accessories, Atom, a hackable text editor. I've never used Atom. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to use it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Interesting. And seems like if you're a developer, it's got a few tools there for you. Bulk rename, Catfish, normal stuff I've seen before. Redshift, okay, Plank, stupidly simple. Not really familiar with some of these applications once again. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. Plank didn't seem to start. Then we have a screen key and a few other things down here. Screenshot task manager. Let's take a look at the task manager right away. Using 21% of the memory is 4 gigs, so you do the math. Not bad. 186 processes. It's a little bit higher than I'm used to seeing. And the memory use is a little bit higher. This virtual machine has 4 gigs of RAM allotted to it. So 1/5 of that is being used just browsing around. Not the lightest XFCE implementation, but RAM these days, most people have at least 4 gigs, so it's not really something to be worried about. Xterm, UXterm, bunch of terminals. Okay, time shift is included. This is being more and more seen on different distributions where time shift is there. Okay, so we have the settings. So we have desktop, display, the normal settings you will see. Nothing really out of the ordinary, cheap-hearted, which is always nice to have. Notifications, preferred applications, quick system info, text-based, of course, very fast. It tells us everything that we have here. Very nice. So we're running XFCE 4.12.4 and Arco Linux 6.9.2, which I mentioned before. All right. So let's keep on moving. A few other things. Power Manager. I saw a few things up above. Office. We have the orange applications. There is no LibreOffice included, but this is a simple thing to add. Very simple. Multimedia. Looks like we have a pretty good selection here. We have a webcam viewer. Parole Media Player. Not familiar with it. I don't know if it looks a lot like MPlayer. Maybe this is based on MPlayer. Who knows? Not familiar with this at all. Once again, another application that I'll probably dig into. And Praha. Okay. Praha Music Player. Manage and listen to your music. A lightweight GTK Plus music player. Okay. Changed again. Okay. It's a good thing it's a timer for me. Let's continue to multimedia, simple screen recorder, VLC player, volume icon, and XF burn internet. Chromium is here too. So that's 3 web browsers, Vivaldi, Firefox, and Chromium, all included. Okay. But Chromium doesn't show anywhere except in the application, the main application menu, and right clicking will not give you an application menu like in some distributions. So let's continue. So we do have Chromium, Firefox, Vivaldi. We have 3 web browsers, and we have transmission, but I don't see any email applications. Did I miss that? Could it be in Office? Yes, Evolution. Evolution is there. Okay, there we go. Graphics. Inkscape, of course, Nomax, image viewer. Here we go. GPic, Shotwell, Simple Scan. Shotwell's a nice program. I've used it a few times. It's impressive. It's nice. It's simple, lightweight. A lot of these apps seem to be very lightweight, but very functional. Development, as we could see, we have a few things here. Genie, Meld, Atom. Accessories. So Meld is not what I thought it was, but then again, please, if you can tell me what it is in the comments, I'd like to know. Accessories, okay, come again with Atom. A lot. There's some overlap here. A few applications do show up more than once. And variety. That's the wallpaper changer, Vim, and then we have all. In terms of performance, okay. That was the music player, and that's the file manager for the desktop. So interesting. So here's Firefox. Let's. Okay. Just trying to see if right off the bat things can get done. Yep, working beautifully. Yeah, Comfortably Numb. Excellent song. So right away that works. Works very well. And that was Firefox. Let's try Vivaldi. And we'll take a look at this. Working perfectly. So no issues there at all. I'm not even going to try Chrome. I'm pretty sure it'll work as well. So you have your multimedia there. I haven't been able to play any files. I should try, but this is more like a quick look. It's not just a review at all, actually. I would probably just kicking the tires, seeing what makes this a viable or potential choice for a Linux user. Okay, so now it's time for me to wrap it all up and put it together. This has been very quick for me. I am a user of an Arch-based Linux distribution. The one thing that gets me in Arco Linux is its maintainers or its developers' selection of applications is different. It doesn't follow what everybody else is doing, and I like that. I actually like that. And what I like about that is it does open up your mind to maybe consider applications to do things that you haven't done before. You're so used to using the VLC players and so used to using these other runs. If you know what I mean, there's nothing wrong, taking nothing away from VLC or other applications and player that people are used to. Just that there are other alternatives available, and that's what distributions like this allow you to see and experience. So on that note, I would say give it a run, give it a try in a virtual environment. You got a spare machine hanging around, non-critical. I'm still concerned about not knowing that much about this. I know it's based on Arch, but again, you just run it and see if you like it. Would I personally install this? No. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a damning thing either. I am enjoying what I'm using right now. Manjaro is a lot more familiar to me, and the application, I've had it set up the way I like it. Being an Arch-based distribution, though, and I want to make this perfectly clear, you can make Arco Linux look like any other Arch distribution with a little bit of work and some attention. It's very flexible. I presently, or for the last year, have been using Cinnamon as my main desktop. Installing Cinnamon here should be very easy, and I can make it look just like my Manjaro box. You probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. That's the beauty of Linux. That's why I continue to use Linux on my main machines. You can twist it and bend it the way you want and have fantastic stability, and it's up to you. Is this good for a new user? Brand new users to Linux, There are some probably better choices out there than Arco. I think Arco is good for someone who's used Linux for a while or a short while and wants just to try a different experience. It's not a new user experience. It presents to you different applications in a very interesting way, I suppose. I wouldn't call it earth-shattering or anything like that. It's very difficult to look at Arch spins and come away feeling like they brought something new to the table, because realistically you can make it any way you want it. Chakra was a little different, a lot different actually. And one thing about Arco is it doesn't just rely on Arch. I believe it takes some stuff from Debian and other things. I'm not too sure. Once again, it's my first time. I've only had this distribution on my system for a day, and I haven't really had the time to dig deeper. All in all, a valiant effort. Definitely worth kicking the tires if you're someone who likes to distribution hop or poke around. It is Arch based, so you should be able to get it up and running in the way you like it without much fuss or anything like that. And I would definitely take a look at it. It's just not a distribution that I would use on a daily basis at this point. And I mentioned why, but why one man's meat is another man's murder. Different strokes for different folks. Definitely worth a look. Another spin on Arch. That's my overview. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.